as a little guy, I had to sit in the car on this long drive out to Huntington, Long Island, because that's where Tony lived. Tony was my father's collaborator. Tony played the piano, he wrote the music. My father wrote the words, songwriting team. And I finally get there, and it was like paradise, because they had this big lawn. There were no fences between their yard and the next yard. They had a dog, there were other kids, as opposed to my little postage stamp of a backyard. And then playing out there, every now and then I would catch a glimpse of the house, and I knew that my father and Tony were in there writing songs. And I'm wondering, how do they write songs? You know, how does that happen? Well, fast forward some years, my next older sister majored in music in college. She's an oboist. But as a music major, she had to learn how to play the piano, because that's what you have to do. We didn't have a piano, so we searched through the Want Ad Digest, I think it was called, or maybe it was a Penny Saver, whatever, the local for sale publication. And my father and I had the job, we had the assignment, and then we go visit these pianos. And you could buy an upright piano for $150. Cheap. $100, even $50. People didn't want them. They're big, they're like chest high, they're thick, you know, I see people nodding their heads. They're really humongous, and mahogany, ebony, literally heavy, and visually heavy. They like suck the life out of a room. We looked and we looked and we played them, not that either one of us could play the piano, but we heard what they sounded like, and we narrowed it down. One piano. Now it was time to bring my mother along. And my mother took a look at this upright piano, and that's when we started looking for studio upright pianos. The Campbell Soup condensed version. Much lower in height, altogether smaller. We found one that was polished walnut. It was a beautiful piece of work. $300. Piano movers brought it down into our basement, installed it in the family room. My sister got her piano lessons, but now we had a piano in our house. My father didn't have to go out to Huntington, Long Island, to Tony's house. He would come over to our house. And at this time, I'm in high school. And Tony is in the basement with my father, and they're working on songs, and I'm still curious, how do they write songs? And I'm up in that upstairs hallway. You know, when they sell a house, they focus on the rooms, the bedrooms, the living room, the kitchen, you know, even the garage they'll mention. They never talk about the hallways, you know, the most trafficked room in the house. And there's that closet, that one little closet that my mother somehow miraculously put all of the linens and sheets and utensils and books. And she was very well organized. And so there's the doorway that is at the top of the staircase. It's an enclosed stairwell that goes to the basement. And so I'm passing by, and curiosity gets the better part of me, and I put my ear to the door. But it's too muffled, and I can't hear exactly what they're doing. I can't hear how they're writing songs. And I knew this was not quite ethical, you know. So I said, what the heck, I'll just go down there and I'll sit in and hear what they're doing. So I open the door, I go downstairs, and as soon as I enter the room, they stop working on their songs. Tony spins around on the piano bench. Sandy House, high school, what's your favorite subject? Which teacher do you hate the most? And I realized they weren't going to write songs while I was there in the room. So I go back upstairs, you know, nice to see her, you know, go back upstairs. And I tried to go about my business, but I really wanted to know how they write songs. I put my hand on that glass doorknob, you know, one of those look like a rose glass crystal doorknob. And I was familiar with this door. I knew this door, and so I twisted that doorknob really slowly so it wouldn't make any sound. And I pulled the door open very carefully, wide enough so I could pass through. And I grabbed the inside doorknob with my other hand and held it so that the spring wouldn't pop out and make noise. And I stepped onto the top step of the stairwell and then rotated the knob back into position so the latch came back into place without making a noise. And I stood there on the top step expecting to hear my father call out, hey, who's up there? He didn't say anything, they didn't hear me. So I sat on the top step and I listened. And I hear Tony playing this melody, and my father says, now that sounds just like, and he names some pop tune. Yeah, you know, Sam, I think you got a point there. What if you, and he plays around with it, makes some changes. Yeah, I like that. And they work on that melody for a while. And then, well, let's review that song we worked on the last time. They take out the sheet music, I can hear ruffling around, and Tony starts playing it, and my father comes in singing the words. Not a pleasant experience. But they play it through, and then my father says, you know, it's just not working, and he says, what, the eighth measure, you know, let's do that again. And Tony makes an adjustment, you know, add a dotted eighth note here and reduce the other note there, and my father switches the words around, and they play it through phrase by phrase, measure by measure, and okay, that's enough for now. Let's go work on another song. And they pick up another song. And it's the same sort of thing. Tony's got a comment about my father's lyrics, and should he add a note here so it can be ding instead of lee, you know, all this sort of details. And I'm amazed, you know, this is really work. And time after time, finally, they finish a song. And they send it into the publisher. And then they get the rejection letter. And they set to work again writing another song. And another rejection letter. And they write another song. They wrote more than 75 songs together. Never had a single one published. Never made a dime. Tony worked for the New York City Police Department. He played the clarinet in the police band. That's how he made it. My father was an electrician, supervised the maintenance shop in this factory or that office building. But when anybody asks, I tell them my father was a songwriter. Well, I want to sing you one song that Tony and my father wrote. I'll tell you right off, my wife does not like this song. In the category of breakup songs, I would characterize this song as angry, disappointed, and not really wanting to let go. It's that kind of, this is over. But musically and lyrically, I think it's one of their best. I used to worship the ground you walked on. I loved each topic you talked on. Now we're through. The little worm is gonna turn on you. You said that people should be like brothers. The way you criticize others made me blue. The little worm is gonna turn on you. Once we went to to a swell affair. You seem to know everybody there, but I felt so humble, didn't grumble. You didn't even care enough to give me a tumble. I used to cater to every wish, dear. I said that you were my dish, dear. Now that's taboo. The little worm is gonna turn on you. You used to take all the easy pickings, but now you're getting the dickens. Here's your cue. The little worm is gonna turn on you. I just took the initiative to find someone who's appreciative, but I'm gonna haunt you, tease and taunt you. I'd send you to the devil, but I doubt if he'd want you. I've been so weary and so embarrassed, humiliated and harassed. Yes, it's true. The little worm is gonna turn on you. As far as we go, this is the finish. So let your ego diminish. Here's your cue. The little worm ain't gonna squirm. He's getting firm. He's gonna terminate this romance with you. I'll bet you can guess the title of that song. Yeah, The Little Worm is going to Turn on You. Copyright 1952, Anthony Messina and Samuel Schumann.